Welcome back to The Upshot, the podcast about the funniest stories in sport. On the show today, Salt Bay is chucked out of the Champions League after party, a darts legend's gory treat for his wife, and gangland hits on cage-fighting bank robbers. I'm Jack, and I am joined by some very special guests because, first of all, Zach is back.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm back, yes.
Welcome back. Yeah, he's back from his holiday. Please stop emailing in and asking. Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, it's nice to be here. Nice to see you.
It's wonderful to have you back.
Did you miss me?
I actually did a little bit.
Were you sort of you were angling for my job, really?
I thought I was going to thrive without you, but actually I was lost without you.
Yeah, that's good. In a way, I'm happy.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. But actually what I didn't enjoy was the constant online comments on every platform I go on. When's Zach back? Oh, it'd be nice to get Zach back.
Yeah.
I had a look on one Reddit thread and it was like, yeah, JP's great, but when is Zach back? I'm like, you fucking cunt.
You didn't check the IP addresses of those, did you?
Yeah, no, I've tracked it down on Reddit.
Traceable to the Lilongwe area.
So it turns out it needs all three of us for the magic to happen.
Yeah, the boys are back in town.
How was Malawi? I mean, I've already heard.
You've already
briefly.
Heard. It was really amazing trip. Yeah, it was a beautiful country.
Didn't you get recognised?
I did meet a shotter.
That's insane.
Where?
So I had a tour of a coffee farm from a guy called Josh, a lovely guy, and yeah, we were walking. We started chatting about football, and he was like, "Yeah, didn't you ever trial at Crystal Palace?" Which I did not. But,
you were scouted for the girls.
If you missed that episode, I once got offered a trial for Crystal Palace women's team. Which sadly I was unable to take up, but yeah, that was my claim to fame. But anyway, yeah, so they have a coffee farm in Malawi, which we had a tour of, and turns out they also supply coffee to a coffee shop in Edinburgh called MF Coffee, which is run by a guy called Cameron, who also listens to the pod, and yeah, it's delicious coffee. And if you're in Edinburgh, then check it out. I think they won like best coffee shop in Edinburgh or something. So yeah.
Any really money change hands between you and Josh? This coffee shop and they do delicious Arabica brand.
If you say the word Upshot 10 at the checkout, you will get a small discount. No, but they're really lovely guys, and so they give them a shout out.
And their smooth Arabica blend is not to be missed.
Yeah, it's definitely.
When you was on a coffee tour.
So I had a tour of it's quite a coffee region.
Is it?
So yeah, had a tour of
Love
coffee.
that.
That's nice because JP messaged me going, "I'm in Belfast and I've just been recognised." Oh, he was puffed up, pretty pleased with himself.
Like, we are global.
And I was like, "Well, Zach's just been recognised in a coffee plantation in Malawi."
So beat that.
Yeah. I was absolutely chuffed to get recognised, to be honest.
Yeah.
You don't expect
No
that.
bad feeling.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what the bad feeling though is because I find if we have like a reel that goes big on Insta, you get recognised quite a lot for a bit, and then it just stops.
Yeah,
and that's hard.
Yeah, the
crash.
the drop off is terrible.
Suddenly,
it's sort of it's kind of an addiction, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's what I imagine being on like Big Brother 7 was like.
I do remember you getting recognised quite a lot around Christmas, and you were absolutely fucking loving it.
Because we did that video about Coke at the Liverpool staff Christmas party.
Yeah,
they like people got chucked out for doing Coke, and it went really big on Insta. And, I was buzzing that way.
Yeah, you were walking around.
Did you have quite a funny interaction?
Yeah, I did. About that video, I walked into my local pub, and this bloke recognised me from the video, and then he was like, came up to his wife, and he was like, "This is the guy I was telling you about from that video," and she just goes, "I didn't find that video funny at all." JP, you were in Ireland. How was that?
I was, but Jesus, I was having I had a road trip with my mum, which was, I met a load of relatives, but she just basically showed me gravestones of people that had died in her family, which was quite
Irish.
morbid.
Yeah.
Very, very
I did
Irish.
the same thing. I was in Ireland recently. And
yeah.
did the same.
It's like a thing, isn't it?
They're very morbid.
Yeah, they take funerals very seriously over there.
Have you ever heard the death announcements that they do on the radio?
No.
There? So it's it's like after like the 6 o'clock news or something, and it's like, now we will be reading out the deaths. So, a death has occurred in
Jesus.
town, and And yeah, my grandparents would always it'd be a bit of a hushed silence. You have to gather around the radio and hear who's died in the local area.
Got to update the phone book.
Yeah.
Cross a few names out. Hang on, is that all the deaths locally? It's like
I
an
think-
obituaries section in the newspaper, I guess.
Yeah, I think you have to pay to get your
Right.
name on it, but it's a good way to let everyone know,
No, yeah.
know you're dead, I guess.
And everything, like all the gravestones are like immaculate. You know, like it's taken so seriously. Like the upkeep's insane.
Yeah.
And my mum was like dragging me to like my great granddad and was like, touch the stone. So I just had to like touch the stone and then walk away and then just take it in, really.
Yeah. Did you have a sort of feeling when you touched the stone?
Not
you
really,
feel
I'll be honest with
connected?
you. It was just a bit weird.
Yeah.
Didn't you said something funny happened?
So I ended up in Belfast and my mate Connor was showing me around and he was like, I'm going to take you to like a proper boozer. Anyway, we walk in the boozer and it's to set the scene. It's like a proper old boy boozer. Everyone's drinking Guinness. There's horse racing on. People are just like, it's a bit fast and loose. He walks up to the landlord and he's like, "Oh, can I have a pint of Guinness, please?" So he starts pouring this Guinness and Connor just goes, "Is it true about the phantom shitter?" And the guy just sits there and goes, "How do you know about the phantom shitter?" So, and he stopped pouring the pint and Connor was like, "Well, I heard it from a mate. Would you mind just telling us what happened?" And he goes, but Jesus, there's a fella over about a quarter of a month that would be coming in here and taking shits everywhere. But we didn't know who it was. So the guy was like basically putting shits in different parts of the pub, walking out. Like he left one underneath the doormat one night, so like the shit spread all
so
across the floor.
Not like parts of the bogs, just everywhere.
No, everywhere but the bogs.
Is he squatting down and doing it?
Well, they couldn't quite work out where it was coming from. He left one behind the door. He left one underneath the doormat. He left one underneath the stairs in the staff room. And the landlord eventually was like, right, we need to track this guy down because this is like absolutely fucking mental. There's shits all over the pub all the time. So he gets one of the bar staff to sit on the CCTV and the guy's there for like 2 or 3 days. And he's like, anyone that just comes in on their own, starts walking around sketchy, we need to track him down. So it's about a week. And he said that it was like a Tuesday afternoon, a guy comes in and the guy's like, right, I think this is him. So they let him wander around, they get him a drink and that, and he leaves the pub. They go back to where he was sitting and there's a shit. So they're like, right, we've got the phantom shitter. So they then they run down the street, the landlord, and basically and he's gone into a Betfred and the guy's just sitting there in Betfred. And the landlord's gone up to him, grabbed him by the scuff of the neck, and he's like thinking that there's going to be a massive fight and an altercation. He's like, "Did you just take a fucking shit in my pub?" And he's like, "Yeah, I did." And he's like, "Right then, well, can you stop doing that?" And he's like, "Yeah, no problem at all." So they then ring the old bill, they get him barred, and apparently he's been taking shits in like Belfast institutions for like the last 3 or 4 years or something.
Wow.
There's no motive. Oh, he just basically walks around just getting barred from
So
places.
it's
taking
not
shits.
a vendetta against the pub, which is what you'd assume.
Yeah.
I was just sitting there so confused. I was like, is this guy just like taking shits for fun?
Yeah.
And he obeys it when he gets
Yeah,
barred.
yeah.
if you ask him not to, then
He's
you
respectful.
You should have asked. Yeah.
So it's
of course
like
I
until
would
he
do it,
gets caught, he shits,
Yeah.
and then once he gets shits, he finds his next victim.
Who's next? Do we know where
We
it went
don't
after
know.
that?
We don't know.
Yeah. So this was in Belfast because I was picturing it in quite a small town.
No.
And I
this
was
is like-
imagining like when the detective from the big city gets sent into this like sort of Twin Peaks style, and there's all these strange goings on in this small town.
This is
People
like
keep going missing.
Belfast City
Shit
fucking
keeps turning
centre.
up. Wow.
Yeah. So the guy. Well, obviously you can't really arrest him. It's not like an
Can
offence.
you not?
Surely, I'm sure that is.
Well, I don't think you can really.
I think should bring him in for questioning at least.
Yeah.
But apparently he's just sitting there absolutely nonchalant. He was expecting like a massive fight with him, and he was just like, "Yeah, sorry about that. I just like taking shits in pubs."
So, but did they work out whether he was doing the shit in the pub, or was it in a bag?
In a
or-
napkin.
Yeah. So basically, he'd come in usually with the bag, of
Slide it
shit
out.
and leave it in different places around the
Yeah.
pub.
So he's doing them at home.
Yeah,
Do you reckon he's doing like a batch of 10 and then
just keep
keep her in the freezer.
keep
Yeah.
him fresh. But yeah, he's known as a phantom shitter.
that's fantastic.
Wow, that's a great story.
That's
And
Quite horrible.
I was thinking, is that a sport-related link? But the only sort of sport-related link I could think there was that they found him in a Betfred.
yeah, you told me before this was going to be sport related.
Come on.
There was horse racing on in the pub.
Yeah.
That was a great story.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No worries.
We should probably talk about some sport, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
Did you watch the Champions League? You guys were obviously in exotic locations.
I actually didn't.
I
I'll be
did.
I
It was
didn't watch it.
I was flying back, and I had to change flights in Addis in Ethiopia, and it perfectly coincided. I had like a 4-hour layover that perfectly coincided
Nice.
with the Champions League final. It was the best
That's lovely.
airport wait I've ever had.
I mean, it was. I saw the aftermath. I saw Parisians burning their city to the ground. I guess that's just how they.
I feel like
celebrate.
French people have one emotional setting. It's like if you raise the price of petrol by 2 centimes, then they'll burn the city down. if they win the European Cup for the first time, they burn the city down.
Yeah.
If the local bakery runs out of pain au chocolats, they'll burn the city down.
There's always that faint air of menace anyway.
Yeah.
When they're not burning it down, they're sort of like thinking about it. Apparently, PSG had preemptively before the final barricaded their own club shop up
Jesus.
because they knew they would be
So
rioting.
if we win,
Yeah.
if
there are penalties, they will burn the city to the ground.
Imagine if they lost.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that though, barricading the own club shop. they realised. My highlight was Salt Bay. You know how he's always trying to get his fucking latex glove trotters on the trophy at these events, like the World Cup final.
Oh god, that World Cup final photo. I'm just like,
Unbearable.
twat.
But there was a clip this time of him getting kicked out of the after party
Good.
because he wasn't invited and like quite firmly pushed out the door.
Yeah.
It's quite because he sort of has the air of a guy who sort of always glides in, doesn't he? Swans in.
I feel like him getting kicked out is also quite symbolic of the PSG's shift away from this like superstar era. Because if Neymar was still there,
He'd be
Neymar would be doing fucking TikTok dances with Salt Bay
there. Yeah.
and I Show Speed,
Mm.
and you know.
Yeah, you're right. Whereas PSG, they're not that club anymore,
Yeah.
which is a shame because I've loved them as those villains, and now we've got to sort of view them a bit differently.
I actually really like the team. I think they play
Oh.
wicked football. Sorry, guys.
They are good at football.
They are good at football. There's
but
no
still,
doubt about it.
They can still fuck
I
off.
saw a photo of Salt Bay and the FIFA president before the match, and Salt Bay was like, "Thank you for everything that you've done for football." It's like,
What, to Infantino?
yeah, it's Infantino. It's like
Did
the
you,
two worst
he-
fellas in football.
did you see he was also with I Show Speed?
Of course.
Because apparently I was listening to it was Guardian Football Weekly, I think, and they were saying that all these journalists have been trying to get interviews with Infantino about the Club World Cup, and they can't speak to him for love nor money. And then he just pops up playing fucking Halo in a gaming chair with I Show Speed. And wasn't he with he did like
I think he was.
TikTok?
Well, they're
with
touring the
someone?
trophy around America with like the most annoying influencers.
That's the trophy.
Yeah.
The weird fucking trophy.
And you know that trophy, Infantino's name is engraved on it in 2 places.
No doubt about it.
He also, did you see he posted a picture of him? There's like a Panini sticker album for the Club World Cup, and he posted a picture of an Infantino shiny.
Do they?
And there was like genuine horror among fans. And then he was like, no, it was a joke. Just like quietly pulping 10,000 stickers he'd
Is
had
it
made.
normal to have the FIFA president on a fucking sticker?
No.
No.
But also on the trophy, but apparently it's because it was his brainchild. It's like,
But is
fuck off.
the I think the Jules Rimet is the trophy, right? And I'm pretty sure Jules Rimet was I don't know if he was FIFA president or if FIFA existed, but I think he
Mm,
Didn't he make?
founded the
didn't he
World
fu-
Cup.
yeah, he
or
founded
something.
the
that's
World
the
Cup.
old World Cup
So
trophy.
Infantino wants it to be called the Infantino.
Yeah, he's
trophy,
basically where he's
right?
going with it. Yeah. Anyway, he can do one. Quite brutal end of the season for Inter then. So
Really
they were on
brutal.
for the treble like a month out. Ended up losing the title by a point. They got knocked out of the Coppa Italia semis, I think, and then obviously
By AC Milan as
by
well.
AC Milan.
hated rivals.
and then 5-0 in the Champions League final, 1-0.
And to add salt into that wound, Conte left Inter to go to Napoli, right? So
Oh, yeah,
like
good
Conte's
point. So yeah,
completely
so they,
fucking done him over.
yeah. So it's all turned from gold into shit
Yeah.
for Inter. Apparently, was it you who told me this, Zach, that there was an Inter fan holding up a sign on the day of the final saying, "I'll pay 2,000 euros for a ticket." Really hope he didn't find a seller.
yeah.
Poor bloke. But anyway, so they obviously then had to fly back from Munich, this dejected Inter Milan squad, where they touched down at Silvio Berlusconi Airport. And I don't think anyone was expecting an open-top bus parade, but at least you'd be like, yeah, the fans will come out and commiserate with us. Guess how many Inter fans showed up to meet them at the airport? 1.
Oof.
one bloke called Marco.
Oh,
And
good lad.
Marco was interviewed because there was a lot of press there, but one fan, he said, I'm the only idiot here, but they still deserve applause, which I agree with. Apparently the Milanese police had sent dozens of police cars to like marshal the crowd.
Should have sent it to Paris.
Or Belfast, to be honest. There's a case worth solving there. But yeah, just Marco on the scene.
Yeah, I also saw a clip of the France national team have met up for qualifiers or whatever, and Deschamps was like, congratulations to all of PSG's winners. There's a lot of them in the French squad, and they did like a round of applause for them, and the camera just pans to Marcus Thuram, who's just sat there. Has to sit through this like ovation.
Ouch.
Oh, it's international break, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's why we're talking about people pooing in pubs.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's a bit dry this week.
Yeah. Huge game for England at the weekend. Andorra. The Titans of Andorra.
Playing in Spain, aren't they?
Yeah, I think they play most of their games there.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if there's any big stadiums in Andorra.
Well, apparently Andorra have built a stadium and they tried to get it passed and it got absolutely rejected because it's basically like a fucking shed in Andorra that's not fit for national football. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you see this Dutch side got promoted who have a stadium that looks, I think it's like 3,000 capacity stadium. They're going to be playing in the Eredivisie next year.
Love that.
Yeah, it literally looks like a National League ground. It's quite cool. But yeah, anyway, so you had the Small Nations episode.
I listened to that.
That came out.
Yeah, I called it world football because I'm respectful of the. Yeah, I did use the term shit munchers once as a joke, and Paul kind of looked back at me like, bit much. Cut that from the episode.
Yeah,
it was a good episode, I thought.
Thank you.
Very informative.
That feels like an insult.
No, it's not as funny as normal.
It's just lacking.
It's lacking a bit.
Someone was missing.
It was always
someone.
I thought it was pretty funny.
You did miss out one of my favourite Small Nation stories, and that was about Marvin Iseke, who's the head of the Guam FA. So Guam, in case you're not familiar, is a tiny 200 square mile Micronesian island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. And, considering its quite remote location, FIFA are unlikely to schedule many of its meetings to tie in with Guam's time zone. So 2022, Gianni Infantino was hosting this Zoom meeting with representatives from all 207 member associations of FIFA, and they were discussing whether they should host the World Cup every 2 years. So, it's an important meeting, and Marvin is in there representing the proud nation of Guam. And Infantino's there, presumably wittering on into his fifth hour about the commercial opportunities with FIFA's new mouthwash partner. And at this point, Marvin dozed off in his chair on the Zoom call. So we're looking at a picture of it now. We'll link to it.
Fantastic.
He's fully just like leaning back in his chair,
it's
completely
like
out.
Someone in an office chair, but they're like about as flat as you can lie.
Yeah.
In a Hawaiian shirt.
He's
dead to the world there, isn't he?
Yeah.
Well out.
To be fair to him, it was 1 a.m. there, and Guam are unlikely to play in a World Cup no matter how often they host it.
Fair enough.
Is it one of those where you have to go around to everyone being, and you're just like, yep, nothing from me.
Is that like an AI background as well? Looks like
it does. It's a very cool logo Guam got.
They're quite good, Guam.
Are they?
Are they?
They're like, they were awful, and then they had a charge up the rankings. Once Marvin actually was a big part of that.
Yeah.
So he's earned his rest.
He's okay.
What a
It is a real power move wearing a Hawaiian shirt when everyone else is in blazers. Infantino is there in his trademark.
Would it be
black
ignorant
suit.
to assume that everyone in Guam is wearing a Hawaiian shirt? It's like
Possibly.
I don't know. It looks quite a vintage number.
US military base meets Micronesian island.
Yeah,
It's
so I'm
got
getting
big
like
Hawaiian shirt.
Cuban vibe.
Yeah, but happier.
But happy, yeah.
Do you think he got that shirt on Guam Tree?
Oh, I bet you're fucking pleased with that. That's what we've been missing, isn't it?
It's that wit.
The lightning wit.
Guam tree.
While you were both away last week, George and I talked about Ian Rush, who has, in the most divorced dad move ever, he has made an AI musical to settle some scores with a Surrey scaffolding firm that he's fallen out with. He also lays into Robbie Fowler and a few others. Yes, it's certainly something. And we were like joking on it that it was the Ballon divorce is already going his way because it was the most divorced dad thing ever. And actually, it turns out that Ian Rush is exactly that. So he divorced his wife around 10 years ago. They were married for like 30 odd years until he got a message out of the blue from Irish reality TV star Carol Anthony. And I'm going to let James, who wrote into us, take over telling the story now. This is what James said. He said, Carol was married to a local publican here in Cork called Bernard. Her husband, a massive Liverpool fan, had a milestone birthday coming up, so she made contact with his hero, Ian Rush, and asked if he could make a personal appearance at his party and do a meet and greet, etc. He agreed to it and came over to Cork. Unfortunately for Carol's husband, while Ian was here in Cork, he took a shine to Carol and they embarked on an affair. The meet and greet was a huge success and Carol's husband was indeed surprised. However, in the subsequent weeks and months, he was even more surprised by his hero stealing his wife from him. Less than 6 months into her marriage, she left her husband for Ian, who in turn left his own wife.
How gutted would you be if you were Bernard?
Yeah. I didn't know whether to say this, but James, who wrote in, said that in Cork, Bernard is now known as Bad Luck Bernard. Which is, I mean, I feel for Bernard, but that is such an Irish nickname.
Top of the morning to you, Bad Luck Bernard.
Tough episode for Irish publicans, actually.
Ouch, yeah. There's some shit going on down there.
Yeah, to make things worse, Ian Rush then left a poo in his No, I'm not suggesting Ian Rush is the phantom pooer. That story is basically, you know, the Trent Alexander-Arnold Stop Saving Chat story where the girl asks for a Father's Day message and Trent starts hitting on her.
Yeah.
To put it lightly. It's kind of like that, but with I don't know if happy ending is the right term.
With an Irish pop star.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was you guys probably know Carol Anthony. She was in Celebrity Salon.
And, of course.
She's known as a pop star. She's known as Havana. She's bidding to become the biggest Irish pop star since Samantha Mumba.
Huge.
Yeah, or was till she met Rushy.
Or The Cause.
Yeah, it's it is a lot like that Trent story though.
If this feels like a good chapter in the Ian Rush musical, to be honest. This is more the rom-com spin-off.
You need a love story. It can't all be Surrey scaffolding firms.
Just out of interest, why is the play going to get back at the scaffolding firm?
It's just him laying into them.
Oh right.
And he lays into Robbie Fowler and a couple of other old teammates because he asked them to do a video message supporting him in this battle and they didn't. So he lays into them as well.
So he's using theatre as his medium of revenge.
Yeah.
Bad Luck Bernard also sounds like a character in a musical.
It's a bit of a sequel.
The baddie.
I should say, for both Bad Luck Bernard, Ian and Carol, all three of them, I had a look around and it is true, according to online, loads of news articles, she did leave Bad Luck Bernard for Ian. But I couldn't find any record of this like birthday meet and greet event. So I'm taking James's word for it.
Yeah.
That's how her and Ian met.
BBB.
Do we know if anything else bad luck happened to Bernard?
Oh, I don't know.
Because he just sounds like such a comedy character now.
I wonder if he's still running
the sort of person that would like stand on a rake and it's
Poor fella.
Slip on banana
Never meet your heroes is
Yeah.
my takeaway from that. And never let your wife meet them either.
Your missus.
That's awful because it ruins your marriage, but it also ruins like your childhood memories of Ian Rush winning titles for Liverpool.
It's like a double hit, isn't it?
That's like Alan Shearer doing it to me. That would be tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you accept that though?
What as in, would I like to be cucked by Alan Shearer? Yeah, there's a certain type of football fan who's getting off on that, isn't there?
Yeah.
Do you remember there was that like Ian Wright advert in the 90s where Ian Wright, it's like raining and his car's broken down. He knocks on the guy's door and the guy just keeps going, Ian Wright. He's so excited Ian Wright's there. I reckon that guy wouldn't have minded if Wrighty, rather than helping himself to some cereal, which is what he does, instead he banged his wife. And Ian Wright does live near us, JP. So
He does indeed.
yeah, maybe we can make that happen.
Don't disclose where we live in London.
Sorry,
please,
my
Jack.
imagination is running wild at the moment. On Rushy, he and Carol always get shit because there's a big age gap. It's only about 20 years.
It's nothing these days.
Yeah, I don't think that's that mad. But it did remind me of a Peter Shilton story from 2019. So Shilts also split with his wife of many years and has a new wife
Who's a worldie?
she's what the tabloids would describe as glamorous. She's a good-looking woman. And in 2019, Schultz tweeted, "Happy birthday to my adorable wife. She's the most beautiful lady I've ever seen, with inner strength of steel and a heart of pure gold. She's my world." To which one bloke replied, there's a photo as well. One bloke replied, "Wish you were punching this high when Maradona was next to you." And then Shilton can never let go of the Maradona thing. He replied going, "I think you'll find he cheated." And a bloke replied, "You did too. That's why she's your second wife." Which is brutal. I actually don't know if he did cheat.
I absolutely love how passionate Peter Shilton still is about the Maradona incident.
So this
he
is
just won't let it go,
33 years later.
He won't let it go.
Still livid.
He didn't cheat, did he?
On his wife? I don't think so, no. So that's
So
unfair.
it's a stitch up.
Yeah.
No.
That's unfair.
Yeah, a
But
bit like
it's-
Maradona.
Yeah.
What would have been funny from Shilton is if he'd made a sort of hand of God joke.
Yeah.
It was a little bit the hand of Schultz and a little bit the hand of God.
I don't think he's witty enough for
Knob
that.
of Schultz.
He's more Route 1, really. He's just still angry. Which
Yeah.
is, I don't know, it seems like a lot of the rest of the 1986 England players are sort of over it and kind of now see it as like, as part of a historic moment in football. But
One of them sold
Sold- I
Maradona
was about
shirts
to
for
say.
9 million. So
Yeah.
safe to say he's over it. Lineker's quite relaxed about it.
yeah,
I guess for Shilton, it's the fact that, as in this story, you constantly have people rinsing you about it.
yeah.
I mean, he's not at fault, but I guess he was in the middle of that story.
Maradona's not a tall man.
No,
Even
true.
with his hand.
He should have got that, really, shouldn't he?
Yeah.
So obviously, me and you, JP, have both been on exotic trips.
We have.
And it gives you a bit of wanderlust, doesn't it?
It does.
You wanna
Yeah.
go
Going to see the world.
go where else you want to go. And I know that high on many people's list is Japan. And, for most people, visiting Japan it's a once in a lifetime trip. You'll maybe get to see the cherry blossom in bloom, take a ride on the bullet train, maybe track down the best tonkotsu ramen in Tokyo. But former West Ham youth team star Kane Wright is lucky enough to have his second trip to the land of the rising sun coming up very soon. Although I'm not too sure whether he's going to spend much time exploring Mount Fuji this time around, because the Japanese government have finally succeeded in having Kane extradited to stand trial for a robbery that he did on a jewelry shop in Tokyo in 2015. So we spoke about it before, I think about 6 months ago. So Kane and 2 accomplices basically posed as security guards to get inside this jewelry shop, knocked out the actual security guard, and then smashed the cases and made off with 700 grams worth of jewelry.
Wow.
It's now emerged that one of the 2 accomplices was none other than Kane's dad.
It's a family affair.
It's a family affair. Sort of,
Nice.
Come on, son.
yeah, father and son, double act.
Weekend away.
Yeah,
Passed
yeah.
down through generations of the family.
Yeah, so it's quite nice. Some dads take their kids to Alton Towers for the weekend. Kane's dad takes him to Tokyo for a jewelry heist. But yeah, his dad's a bit of an old hand in this game. So you might remember at the time we also told you that Kane was caught in 2019 trying to flog a priceless Ming vase that his dad had stolen from a Swiss museum.
Jesus.
It's real Tintin shit.
Yeah, it really is. So anyway, Japan has been trying to extradite the jewelry shop thieves, all 3 of them, for years. And last week, they finally got approval on having Kane and the 3rd bloke sent their way. Sadly, though, they were unable to extradite Kane's dad because he's currently banged up in the UK for an even more heinous crime. So last month, he was convicted of trying to murder a cage fighter who took part in Britain's biggest armed robbery.
Fuck.
So I don't know if you remember in 2006, there was this huge robbery. 7 guys raided this Securitas depot in Tunbridge in Kent, abducted the manager and his family, stole 53 million in cash. It's biggest robbery in British history. And anyway, one of the big dogs in that was jailed and then got released in 2018, 2019, and Kane's dad tried to kill him.
Why?
I don't know.
Looked at him wrong.
It's a very murky world of organised crime. they must have had some sort of vendetta against him and tried to kill him, didn't succeed. But Kane's dad is now serving a 36-year sentence for it.
So they can't extradite him because he's already in
jail here.
So,
maybe they will when he's done there.
So his son is now flying over to Japan to get on
done
trial.
for the jewelry thing.
Christ.
It's not a nice place to be in jail, is it? Well, firstly, don't they have a 99% conviction rate in Japan? So if you're extradited to Japan,
do you think it's not a nice place to?
I was thinking maybe it is.
I reckon it's quite nice.
Maybe it's like really feng shui and minimal and stuff.
bit of wabi sabi.
Yeah, I reckon the food is good.
What you think they're giving them
sushi? And
you're not going to be having like fresh fatty tuna, are you?
I don't know. Just I can imagine nice just little bowls of miso soup. And rice.
A lot of rice.
Teddy,
can we Google Japanese prison food?
Jails
might be easy to break out of as well. They've just got those paper walls.
Yeah, bamboo.
The gates of the prison are just those like folding room divider things.
Are you joking? They got a bit of mackerel.
That looks delicious.
That's a bento box. That's like £9 in London.
That looks great.
Free green tea, presumably.
Jesus.
Yeah. Is that actually prison food we're looking at?
Kane's going to have a worldie.
That's like Wagamama.
That's an upgrade.
Probably similar bench seating actually to Wagamama.
Yeah.
Do you think, your mattress would be very thin and your cell would be very small?
Yeah.
Because the hotels are like that.
Yeah, that's the vibe.
I don't know. I think of places to go to jail, I reckon Japan's up there.
Really?
I think so. Where else?
Well, firstly, the conviction rate's high, so you're going.
Yeah.
But we take.
But maybe you
once
maybe you like that.
Yeah.
Maybe you I've always wanted to go.
Yeah. That's everyone pleads guilty. That's why the conviction rate's high.
Just want to try the food. One of the world's best sushi masters is the chef.
Yeah, guilty. Send me down.
Do you think everyone's quite nice? You know how the perception of Japan is like everyone's very polite. Is it like quite? You know what I mean? It's not scary. It's just like everyone's being.
I saw some clips.
They
They like chain them together. If it's like chain gangs.
Oh, really?
To like move around. But everyone's very well behaved. Apparently, discipline is strict.
Right.
But
discipline
happy
strict,
to be there.
Food wonderful.
Origami weapons. Surely there's Yakuza in there. They're quite scary, aren't they?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd prefer to go to jail there than maybe anywhere else.
Good question. What's the best country in the world to go to jail in?
Maybe somewhere like Switzerland.
What,
I reckon it's just quite nice. Quite a lot of like white collar crimes.
Oh yeah.
Just
they're all Scandinavia.
Scandinavia.
Businessmen.
Haven't they got like? You can imagine them being quite lenient in Scandinavia.
Yeah, I reckon you get an Xbox.
Yeah. Actually, didn't
you can like
the guy who did that horrible island killing in Norway. What's his name? Breivik.
Yeah.
Didn't they? He made some kind of protest because they.
Norway prisons are great.
I think
he gets like PlayStation.
That's like a uni
dorm.
Yeah.
Halls.
It's got its own. Yeah.
Don't know about that.
That looks less good.
That
looks like the phone booth here.
I think. By the way, hang on. I think we're giving Japan a look at the prisoner of war camps. They were famously brutal.
True.
Yeah.
They were like about as rank as it gets. So I don't know which Japan are you getting.
Well, I mean, if they've been trying to extradite him for like 5 years, you'd imagine that they're going to throw the book at him and not send him to the nicest place. Like they obviously want him in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
what a mad crime! Like flying all the way to Japan
to do. Yeah, surely there's loads of jewelry shops here.
But do you think they were thinking is it quite an easy place to do it? You're quite conspicuous.
Also,
as
if you go to jail, it's sort of fine.
Yeah, I think that was the calculation.
We're good.
Yeah, actually, going back to that Securitas depot robbery, I was looking into it, went down a bit of a rabbit hole, and it's an absolutely mad story with some quite funny elements. The way that the evidence that got them bagged is comically stupid. And on the Patreon, I'm going to do a deep dive into the whole story of it. Nice. There is a sport connection.
I was about to say.
There is. So the mastermind of it is a former UFC fighter, like a legit one. Oh, right. Dana White knew him, and
there's always a link on the upshot.
I thought you were going to say the mastermind was in a Betfred when
in Belfast.
There were some horses.
Yeah.
There's a sumo wrestler in the Japanese jail. Okay, yeah, so we'll get into
But
that.
yeah, we're gonna do it on Patreon. So
Nice.
If Kane does want to get ship shape before his big trip to Tokyo, might want to give it a quick manscaping, because I reckon they're not that hairy, Japanese people, are they?
No,
So
I
think
reckon you
maybe
get shaved before you go in.
I think you probably do want to. Although it's a bit of
tidy
a.
up, yeah.
I guess if you go into prison and you've got like freshly trimmed pubes, you are making a bit of a statement.
Yeah. To the rest of your new friends.
Yeah. Although maybe because like I'm imagining in Japanese prisons they've got those toilets that clean your bum for you,
Yeah.
like the spray ones. So
What, the
I
one
guess
that
maybe
sings?
it feels nicer if you've got no pubes. Yeah.
Yeah, what are you saying, that actually you want to be manscaped or not?
Maybe
Yeah, you do
You
before
probably
you go-
do because
yeah,
it'll
give
be
yourself
more
a bit of a-
feel nice.
Yeah, you
A
always
once
want to be
over.
manscaped, don't you?
Yeah.
You
Of
always
course
do.
you do.
Yeah.
Just feels so fresh.
Which is fitting because Manscaped have officially released their Lawnmower 5 Ultra in Britain in the white hot special edition colorway. So it's the same trimmer that's trusted by millions of men's balls, now with a clean white and gold finish that looks just as
Are
smooth.
the balls now sentient?
Why? Why
So the ball that's trusted by men's balls.
Is that what it said? Yeah, trusted by balls.
Yeah.
They're now thinking for themselves.
Yeah, I don't think my balls trust many people, to be honest. But, yeah, clean white and gold finish that looks just as smooth as it shaves. So I was actually looking at what's good about this, and it's waterproof. So you can use it in the shower.
I don't know
So-
if you would want to do that.
Yeah, well, it says whether you're using it in the shower, on the go, or standing over the sink before a night
Don't
out.
do it in the shower in prison.
Yeah. Bad things
Then
may
you are
happen.
making yourself a target.
Yeah, I think they can find some use for that. But hang on, in the shower, I've never thought of that, but that's quite a good idea.
Will it not
Is
block
it?
up the?
Oh, that happens
The
anyway,
thing.
doesn't it?
No,
in
I
my
think
shower it does.
If you're doing your pubes in the shower, you're going
There's
to get
gonna be a lot
blocked.
of hair.
And
Mine
then-
gets blocked anyway, so
Oh, is it?
yeah. If my landlord's listening, but on the go, what the fuck does that mean? What on the?
Well, in case
On
you
the
want to have a
tube.
quick one in the office.
On,
As you get
for,
off.
for me, on the go sounds. You
In
have
the
to be.
park?
You're in transit.
Yeah, you're
if,
in
you're
transit.
if you're on the go.
I actually can't. What can that mean that is appropriate time to trim your
On
pubes?
an aeroplane.
In the toilet.
You trim your. I mean,
You've done worse.
let he who is without sin. But still, I actually think this is worse than. Mine was cleaner.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
I hope so.
Yeah, on the go. Trim your pubes on the go.
So what is that like at on
Travel.
bus? Like the
Holiday.
bus,
No,
like
I
the
think
bus
they mean
stop,
as
maybe?
travel, you know.
I
like-
reckon you probably went to some quite remote places in Malawi where it would have been fine.
Convenient to.
Did you fancy one on the coffee tour?
I bet you did one before you went.
Oh yeah, I was looking ship for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you were much like Kane, right?
Mm.
You were looking fit for a Tokyo prison. You can practically smell the mackerel, the bento box. Just looking at it.
That wasn't the mackerel. You could
Do,
tell.
do Japanese men, are they quite like? Is the fashion to be quite?
No, I
trimmed on
think
the
I think
pubes?
they're quite.
The porn's often censored for
oh,
some
no.
reason that I've never understood. Why is that?
always
The
confused me.
Japanese porn, the bit that you're watching the porn for is pixelated. What is that?
Adds to the mystery, but they're quite natural, aren't they? Usually.
Well, I don't know because it's
Yeah.
pixelated.
I
aren't
don't know
they?
'cause I've never been able to see it.
What are they?
Yeah.
What are they?
I
Let,
think
the,
it's
let the
quite
pubes
hairy.
grow. They're not
Yeah.
manscaping.
No.
No.
Okay.
I think Japan is another key market for Manscaped to attack.
Yeah, I mean,
Which is why this advert is targeted mostly to them. Yeah.
all right, in the shower, on the go, or standing over the sink before a night out. That's inappropriate, I think. So I do it over the bog,
Yeah, bog.
Yeah.
not over the sink.
No, don't.
An absolute mess.
Disgusting.
Anyway, Manscaped White Hot 5 Ultra fits into your day without getting in the way. Join over 12 million men worldwide, some of them currently resident in Japanese prisons, who trust Manscaped and use code UPSHOT for 15% off your entire order at manscaped.com. I also noticed they send us notes, which is what I'm reading out. What they have like a list of things not to say. And one of them is don't say that it eliminates foot odor.
Yeah, you're not supposed to say that, Jack.
Yeah, but why would anyone think it eliminates foot odor?
Have you said it, or have one
That's
of
like
us
the
said it
sort
before?
of bollocks that my wife's telling me that like, oh yeah, if your toe actually relates to your kidney if you press on it.
It does.
Yeah.
You trim your pubes, your feet won't sting.
Well, yeah,
Of
don't
it-
say that. Yeah, I have to say, and I am being paid to promote this product, but the fact that you can use it in the shower is
Yeah, that is
making
a
me much
massive
more likely to
USP.
use it.
Yeah, I've still got reservations about using it in the shower.
My-
I
I'll be
just think
yeah.
it's better when you're dry down there. You
That's
don't,
Yeah.
true.
You don't want to have it wet.
No, but I think do it in the
shaving it.
shower, then
wash it off.
I'm actually wondering if you just do it on the bathroom floor and sweep it like in a hairdresser. Do you know what I mean? Or outside.
Yeah, they should have a little brush to get it all.
The garden would be good, then you wouldn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Maybe you could bring your lawnmower to the hairdresser and ask them to do it.
Yeah. Is that an option?
Can I see I can see your garden from my flat, so if I see you out there one day.
Just trim it. We had a teacher at primary school who, this isn't going where you think it's who belongs in a Japanese prison. He used to shave his face with an electric shaver in the playground.
That's a bit weird.
Yeah, it was quite weird.
Anything else?
I'd rather not talk about it. All right. Anyway, tell you who probably does not manscaped, and that is Bobby George, the king of bling darts legend. We're looking at a picture of him now. I bet it is like a rat's nest down there. Do you know what I mean? Just not a generation of man who manscaped.
He doesn't give a fuck, does he?
But I mean, he's an absolute hero.
Yeah.
And you know, with his gold jewellery and his Cockney charm, Bobby George, he really sort of harks back to a freer time when pints were 20p and you could just leave your front door unlocked. And when surgeons would welcome you back to consciousness after an operation by handing you the severed remains of whichever body part they just hacked off you. Mm-hmm. So Bobby, the king of bling, he's got a new book out, and in it he tells an incredible anecdote of having his toe amputated. So he's actually had 4 toes cut off in total. He's got this like rare genetic thing where his toes start growing sort of like sideways and overlapping each other, and it's painful. So he's had 4 lopped off. But he was saying with the first one that before the surgery, he asked the surgeon, like, can I keep it? I'd like to see it. And so apparently he woke up from consciousness and the surgeon was like, here you go. And he gave him like a jar of formaldehyde and the toe, just I think like wrapped in a napkin, bit like a poo in a bottle. And he said to him, like, you can put it in this formaldehyde or just like any alcohol will work. It'll preserve it if you want to keep it. And so Bobby decided, he bought a bottle of vodka, had a quick swig, and then popped the toe in, and it's still there.
What was wrong with the formaldehyde?
I don't know, I didn't fancy it.
It's just a bit more.
Did he drink that?
It's just not very geezer, is it?
Yeah.
You want to have it in a vodka.
I think formaldehyde, it
true.
smells as well, doesn't it?
Formaldehyde?
Yeah, I think
Isn't
so.
that the stuff they put the combs in barbers?
No, that's barbicide.
Oh, is it?
Formaldehyde's what you use for dead bodies.
Oh, is it?
Formaldehyde's
In
like,
mortuaries
and
and
like the
Damien
Damien
Hirst
Hirst
sharks.
and stuff, yeah.
Anyway, this toe is still there 25 years later in a bottle of vodka sitting on the bar in Bobby's Essex Manor, George
Love
Hall.
that.
So he's obviously got a bar downstairs. You can picture it.
Yeah.
Pool table. And yeah, there's that bottle of vodka with the toe. And Bobby said, whenever anyone comes to the house for a drink, I whip it out and ask if they want a cocktail or a cock toe. And then he said, it's also meant that over the years, if I've been away from home for any length of time and my wife Marie is missing me, she can always suck on my toe. I like the idea they get it out and suck it.
Yeah. I
Or
think
put it in someone's drink.
If Marie's doing that, she is an alcoholic.
Yeah.
She
She has a
loves her
problem.
toe. I quite like the idea that
Or a
he
foot fetish.
would drop it in your drink with the ice as a prank. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's the sort who
Like an
would-
olive.
I think it's kind of sweet, the thing of like Marie. I'm not sucking it, but like going and looking at it and being like, oh, Bobby, miss him.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's weird.
It is, but people do.
Did he get the rest of them put in as well?
No, apparently the other surgeons refused.
Fuck
the
that. If it's your toe,
The first toe was 99. So I feel like in 1999,
bit looser.
Lads
Yeah.
Mags, page 3, you could do what you want.
Do you not have a
30
right-
mile an hour speed limit?
Yeah.
No bloody you, Les. And now, apparently the subsequent surgeons were like, no, we will burn it or whatever we do, donate it to research. But
Right.
I remember my dad had either kidney stones or gallstones, and he had them just in a jar.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
always want it as like
Shake
a bit of
him around.
memorabilia.
Do you not have a right to your own body parts?
That's what I was
Do they
about to say.
Well,
Yeah,
I-
they
no,
become
I've
your
property
property
of
of
body.
I've
like,
never seen
like
my-
swans. They become property of the crown.
What, as soon as they're
Yeah.
off. I've never seen my foreskin, so presumably it's out there somewhere. I don't know if my mum kept
Your
it.
mum's got it. I know.
I
she
will
has.
ask. Actually.
She gets out to stroke like Bobby George's wife when she's missing you.
I think it's time to let go of the foreskin. But
Foreskin's a bit of a weird thing to.
Yeah, to keep.
Like at least with the toe, you could. It bears a resemblance to what it was.
You wouldn't know what a foreskin was. if you
Yeah,
just
me
saw it,
neither.
would you? It looked
Just
like a
looks
piece
like
of string.
I wouldn't
Sausage
know.
skin.
Yeah. Well, but there was, in like the sort of early 20th century when science was you can call it rock and roll, or you can call it borderline depraved. But like they just had all these weird ideas, and they used to preserve quite a lot. So Rasputin's cock is kept. Have you ever seen it? We're looking at a picture. It's massive.
Wow, that's huge.
The scientist
It
holding.
looks like a horse.
Yeah, he did famously have a huge cock. You know how all the part of the reason he got killed, all the rumors was that he was like shagging the Tsar's wife and all the other women of the court, and he famously had a huge penis.
Where is the cock now?
I think it's in a Russian museum. The bloke holding it.
That guy looks like he needs a good night's sleep. I know that, mate.
He's been up with a cock all night.
It's quite a weird looking cock.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's
So I
like
think
horsey.
that's
pointy.
ball bag as well, isn't it? At the time.
Oh, is it? Okay.
There's
yeah.
such girth.
I'll tell you who it's a real stitch up for, and that is Napoleon, because his cock is also in a museum, and it doesn't quite match up in size to Rasputin. So that is Napoleon's cock we're looking at. It's 1.5 inches. It's like a little shrimp.
It looks like a kind of weird dildo.
Yeah.
What makes you
What's
say
the
that?
which
Just
part?
like
What is that bit?
You know the dildos that have like 2 bits that you can
like a
play
rabbit,
on.
a rampant rabbit.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bottom bit looks like the bit on the rabbit.
Rampant, yeah. Do you know how much it was bought for?
The rampant rabbit. Oh, are you talking about rampant rabbit? Or...
No, Napoleon's cock.
No, go on.
$3,000.
Is that all?
That's fuck all.
I know. That's what I thought.
Shit, we should get it for the studio.
That's what I was thinking.
When was that?
I think it was a while ago. The bloke who's bought its daughter now owns it and is keeping hold of it.
Well, if you get 9 million for Maradona's shirt,
I think you're going to get like, at least a few million for his
Yeah.
fucking schlong, and yeah.
do you think it would have been more expensive if it hadn't been so small? Like, if Rasputin's getting more. Even though Napoleon's probably a more...
It's probably one of the most important cocks in history, isn't it?
Yeah, but wasn't there always a bit of a thing with Napoleon that he had short man syndrome, because he was very short, a short man syndrome, and that's why he needed to like conquer Europe,
Right.
and it was probably small cock syndrome. Whereas Rasputin's just like, yeah, I don't need the validation.
What do you think's a more dignified way to keep the cock? 'Cause we've got 2 different things here. Rasputin's one is in a jar of vodka or some kind of thing. Napoleon's one is in a sort of box with like cotton wool around. It's sort of like,
but how is it?
It's like a jewelry box.
It's like,
or
like a christening present.
Yeah, or it looks like when you open up like if there was like a mouse living in there or something. It looks,
in a way there is.
Also, how is it so well preserved?
But it's also got these like weird sort of scales, right?
Is it mummified?
I don't know, because we talked on our
it looks mouldy.
ballet episode. We talked about a guy who had like Louis XIV, the French king's heart, and it was kind of dried. And then he had this guest round whose famous thing was that he was going to eat every single animal ever, and the bloke just took the heart and took a bite out of it.
Fuck.
So maybe it's, again, it looks sort of dry, doesn't it?
Like
Napoleon's
biltong.
cock. Yeah. Like flakier. Other interesting body parts. Jeremy Bentham, the philosopher, his head.
This is one of the most freaky things I've ever seen.
Yeah, look at it.
God.
So that's like that looks like you after Glastonbury.
Because he's kind of got my hair. Eyes like piss holes in snow.
On the Wednesday after Glastonbury.
Gurn on his face. Again, he looks more dry than juicy.
Yeah, he looks like he's been built on.
Rasputin's cock would be like wet and slimy, whereas that looks dry. But Bentham, so he had his whole body preserved, and they have the body with a wax fake head, and then the head separately. And apparently, for a council meeting at UCL, he was very involved in UCL, the university. I'm not exactly sure why, but for a council meeting, they brought his body in with the fake head on it, and it like sat in on the meeting. That was in 2013.
He wanted to be there.
Yeah. Very
Wow.
big head, apparently.
Wow.
Yeah. Would you want to be preserved in some way?
Not like that. I don't know, not particularly.
Einstein, the doctor who just did the what's it called, the autopsy on Einstein, he just took his brain. And eyes
I've
and
seen
kept
this
them.
before. Yeah, there's like parts of his
Really?
brain that are in like a
Yeah,
glass.
and his eyes, which are quite beautiful eyes actually. They're very blue.
Mm.
But yeah, he just nabbed it, which feels a bit unfair.
Is that legal?
That-
I don't think so.
That's Have you ever been to the what's that exhibition, Body Works or something like that, where people donate their bodies to it and then they take the skin off and you can see the muscles,
Oh wow.
and it's quite cool.
Yeah, I quite like to see that. We're doing actually related. We're doing an episode on Evil Knievel soon. The stunt man. It's going to be an absolute all timer. It's mad. But one of the stories we saw, which probably won't be in the episode, but he was a compulsive gambler, and apparently he once bet. He was playing a golf match, and he bet the tip of his finger on a single putt. He was like, if I get this putt, or if I miss this putt, I'll cut my finger off.
Well, would he win?
I guess maybe the other guy had to do it. Anyway, he missed the putt, and apparently the only sharp object they could find was a nearby shovel. And so he just hacked it off. Although apparently the finger, according to the legend, was then reattached. So I don't know if I fully believe him. Yeah. That's when your gambling's gone too far.
Yeah.
When the fun stops.
Stop.
When the tip comes off. Yeah. Wild. Coming back to Bobby George, finally. The odd gory digit is not the only thing that Bobby proudly displays at George Hall. We had a story from one of our newsletter readers who a few years ago booked out George Hall because it's this massive mansion. He booked it out for a private party. You can do that. And apparently they were all set to confirm the booking when an email came through offering a special upgrade, which was for an extra £100. Bobby's wife, the lovely Marie, would serve drinks for them topless.
Do you reckon that's like on the website as like your add-on services, like catering, Marie topless?
They backed out of the event, which I think is
really?
You got to pay £100.
Maybe we could do a live share there.
I would love that.
That's a great idea.
I would love that. Bobby, if you're listening.
And who's serving drinks? Actually, staying on darts, did you see Luke Littler missed out on the Premier League title last week? Luke Humphries pipped him to it.
Oh, really?
Which, I'm gutted for Luke.
Yeah, can't win it
Littler. But, on the plus side, he's definitely still darts' most marketable star. He's got all of these endorsements raining in from huge global brands, Xbox, Boohoo Man, the Tag Heuer as well, the luxury Swiss watchmakers. And that kind of puts him slightly out of the budget for Leeds pizza joint Stazione Pizza, who were on the hunt for a brand ambassador. But as a late night takeaway spot serving deep pan doner kebab pizzas, Stazione's had no shortage of portly teenage clients ready to step in for Luke. So they released an ad recently featuring a lad who I would say has a passing resemblance to Luke Littler. Okay, he has a Luke Littler darts shirt. We're watching the ad now.
Oh my God, it's Luke Littler. What are you doing in Crossgates, Leeds?
Come to try this famous Stazione pizza.
I work there. Come with me.
Let's go. Made for the cheesiest pizza you do.
Yeah, no worries. We'll give you a 4-cheese pizza, yeah? Just bear me 1 second. For you, a special Luke the Nuke 4-cheese pizza.
Looks good.
You've hit the bullseye with that pizza, mate.
That's got to be the worst lookalike I've ever seen. Maybe apart from the Irish George Clooney. Did you ever see him?
No.
Apparently he won a competition out of 1,000 lookalikes for George Clooney.
That looks absolutely nothing like you. That's just a bloke.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
God, what do the others look like?
That guy.
He looks literally nothing like it.
That's so good, isn't it?
Yeah. That little ad though got that sort of so bad it's good.
Yeah,
effect.
I saw Specsavers have commented underneath the TikTok post saying hi.
Littler does take. He's like Deliveroo's.
Yeah, Deliveroo.
I do think
I saw that.
If you Deliveroo, that's sort of the ideal brand
your,
ambassador, isn't it?
Your candidate, isn't it?
Yeah. So he didn't win the Premier League. Does that matter? As in, is that a big deal?
I think it is. It's one of the big ones in darts. I think he won it last year.
Yeah, he's won it all really.
He's won it all.
Yeah.
Just like Chelsea.
You weren't at the final, were you?
I wasn't, unfortunately. No. I was in Ireland solving a shit problem, mate.
Bigger fish to fry. Did you see that? There was that Chelsea fan who got there on Tuesday, got banged up for fighting, didn't get released till Sunday after. Had no idea if they'd won it or not.
Oh fuck!
Yeah,
proper naughty, ain't we? What an idiot!
Apparently, mates who went, Chelsea fans, said it was the most police they've ever seen at a
really
football match. Yeah, because I think they're worried about like Polish locals and Chelsea fans as well.
Someone actually said that I was listening to Guardian Football Weekly again.
Yeah.
Not big enough. I'm not big enough another pod. But they were saying that it was actually the Betis fans that were the problem.
And I, for one, believe them.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
They were saying it was like, really boiling over. Because there was like 60,000 Betis in there.
Yeah. Rooting for Anthony. Well, anyway, well done, Chelsea. All right, I think that's all we got time for, isn't it? We're gonna shift over to Patreon now for those of you who are members. What are we talking about? Zach's going to be talking about the heist of the century.
Yep.
And I've actually got some really good gossip about a quite famous football coach and getting up to no good on his summer holidays.
Naughty boy.
And a few other funny summer holiday stories. So join us on there if you fancy him. Patreon.com/Upshot Towers. We are perilously close to our 2000th member, which would be a nice little...
Is there a prize for the 2000th?
Yeah. There's a Luke Litzler Doner Kebab
We will
pizza
send you a
in it.
Stalzoni pizza.
We'll send
Yeah.
you one of our toes in a bottle of vodka.
And a boat and a toe and a shit.
Yeah, and a shit wrapped in a napkin, all the way from Ireland.
But you won't know which one of us it's come from.
You got to guess who's the toe, who's the shit. Yeah, so join us on there. Patreon.com/Upshot Towers. It's £3. It's cheaper than all of those items we've just mentioned. We'll see you on there. Otherwise, thanks a lot for listening. Oh, actually, one other ask. Sorry, are we asking for too much stuff here? I'm going to ask anyway. We're at the end. We're with the loyal listeners. If you like this podcast, could you leave us a review on Apple or Spotify? 5 stars preferably.
And if you don't like it, don't bother.
Yeah, if you're a member of the kuffar who do not believe and don't like it, then please don't leave a review. But if you do like it, would love a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify or wherever. That would be really helpful.
Anything else, Jack?
Sorry, is that too many asks? Too many asks.
Yeah.
All right, thanks a lot for listening. We'll see you next time.
Thank
Cheers.
you. Thanks, guys.
Goodbye.